So when it comes to shooting video on a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, over the last decade, Canon's really been a leader. Lately, Sony has been stepping in the game real hardcore, but now Nikon is pulling no punches with their new Z line of cameras. And in this video, I'm gonna be talking with Dave from Kinotika about the Z6 and think about really, should you switch to Nikon for creating content? Coming up. This video is brought to you by Skillshare, an online learning community with over 25,000 classes on video editing, graphic design, photography, business, and so much more. A premium membership gets you access to high-quality classes where you can learn the skills you need to thrive as a content creator and entrepreneur so you can do the work you love. It's super affordable with an annual subscription coming in at less than $10 a month, and I love getting access to classes from business experts and even YouTube creators like John Olson's class on photography and Sarah Dietschy's class on how to vlog better. Join more than 7 million creators learning with Skillshare today, and the first 500 Think Media subscribers to use the link in the description will get a 2-month free trial. Just click the link in the description to get started today. Hey, what's up? Sean here with Think Media, bringing the best tips and tools for building your influence with online video. And we're here at CES. I'm with Dave from Kinotika. How's it going?
What's up?
Dude, thanks for coming on the show. And I'm super excited to talk about the Nikon Z6 camera, feature by feature, and really like the pros and cons compared to some of the offerings on the market. Now, for me, full disclosure, over the years, I've been a heavy Canon shooter. Lately, I just upgraded to a Sony because they're really killing it. But Nikon is not playing games when it comes to, of course, still photography, but also the video features of the Z6. So you've been using it, Dave. Break it down, exactly what we have here and some of your thoughts.
We've been using the Z6 now on our channel for the last 2 or 3 months, and I've really enjoyed using it. First off, it does full frame 4K. That's right, I said full frame 4K, no crop, and that's including in 30 frames per second and 24. I know that you told me that the A7 III actually has a slight little crop in 30 frames per second mode. We don't have that here. You can also crop in to the APS-C mode, which they call DX mode, and also shoot 4K in that. So if you want a little bit extra reach in your video, you can crop in as well on the sensor. The cool thing about this, though, is you get some of the same benefits that the A9, the A7 get with a 6K sensor internally, down-resing to a 4K image. Basically, what that means is you get a cleaner image overall. No noise or moire, aliasing, some of those types of things. And the image is sharper because it's going from a larger resolution and compressing that down to a smaller resolution. So that's a wonderful feature to have as well. My next favorite feature on this camera is the thing that they call VR. Now, it's not virtual reality, it's a stabilization, vibration reduction. What's really amazing about it is you put a lens on this camera and it's automatically stabilized. You can use an old vintage lens like one here. This is an old Nikkor that you can buy for around $200 or $300 on eBay, or use these new lenses from Nikon and you get perfect stabilization all the way through. In fact, it's so good that I thought this was a dual IS system like what you've seen from Panasonic and Sony before, but honestly, these lenses don't have stabilization built in, but because the body has stabilization, you're getting full stabilization on every lens you put on this camera, and it is really, really good. So that's definitely one of my favorite things. I can totally hand hold this thing and get nice fluid movements that look almost similar to a gimbal.
I love that. Well, now let's kind of break down some of the features, because as we're going through this, right, and this whole idea, they've really thought about all the details. I love that it's 4K with that full sensor readout, but also, of course, things like headphone jack, microphone jack. There's a new file capture system, and so let's break down kind of the specs here.
Sure. Well, let's start with the card that's internally on this thing. The card that's inside of this right now is what's called an XQD card. If you're coming from Canon or Sony, you're probably not familiar with this card, but Nikon's been using it for a while. I was actually told by a Nikon representative that this has been the most reliable card like ever. You're not going to have a failure on this card. It's not typical like an SD card. However, it's not something you're going to just be able to buy at Walgreens if you're in a pinch and you got to buy something for a shoot. You're going to want to order these online, or hopefully soon you can buy them at Best Buy or something like that. They did announce that a CF Express card is coming soon because it's a similar type of format. So that'll be another card that you could use. It is a single card slot only. A lot of that has to do with the size of this body, which is very small. They weren't able to fit that in here. And again, because this card is so reliable, they felt like it wasn't necessarily that necessary.
To have like dual SD card slots. We mentioned, I don't know if we did, but it's not a selfie screen. And so that is definitely one thing that maybe some YouTubers or content creators, Sony's not offering that, but the new Panasonics might, of course the EOS R is, but there's so many downsides to, even the features withheld from like the EOS R. So you'd have the nice tilty screen, but even with a lens like this, it's super good and wide. And you've probably learned right from vlogging that this still is relevant for vlogging and YouTube content creation.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, one of the biggest vloggers in our kind of niche is Peter McKinnon, and he doesn't use a selfie screen on his camera. He relies fully on the autofocus, which you can do with this camera. There's phase detect on this camera that covers 90% of the sensor. So you're going to be in focus with this. It has face tracking, and it doesn't have that jumpy kind of focus that you're used to with a Panasonic, for example, which is kind of known for having bad autofocus. So this is going to look similar to like a Canon, Sony type of autofocus system, which is a good thing.
I also love that they didn't hold back anything on slow motion. So you've got 4K, 30 frames a second.
Yep.
And then at 1080, you can go up to 120 frames a second, and even different modes. If you want to capture it with audio, you could do that. Or if you want the slow motion to actually be already in your final file. One of the other favorite features as we were learning about this camera a little bit with the team at Nikon here is the fact that you can bake in some color profiles. So for those that you want to shoot flat, you can do that. But also if you want to bake in your color profiles so that you can have that faster workflow. And for content creators, that's a big deal. Like a lot of times we don't like to just sit around and color grade all day. We're not trying to like really polish every final video. We're trying to get content out fast. And so the fact that you have a lot of thoughtfulness from the slow motion, the image stabilization, color profiles, shooting flat, full sensor readout, they're like bringing it all. It sounds like they're listening to what we want as content creators, yeah?
Yeah, and I think, any business, any entrepreneur who would want to advise somebody who maybe isn't a leader in something, they would say, hey, I got an idea. Listen to your customers. And I think Nikon was like, you know what? Let's kick butt. And so they listened to what people wanted, and they actually delivered it. And we can get into the Atomos later, but that is a whole nother world of pro that is available with this. But yeah, I really am just real impressed with this thing.
All right, so let's sum up some of our final thoughts and also some of the really cool announcements that just happened at CES in just a second regarding the Z series cameras. But what do you think with the price point, having used it, kind of the pros and cons for a YouTuber, entrepreneur, person that wants to level up their photography game and video game? Where do you feel like this sits in the market?
Well, I think if you're in that $2,000 price point with maybe a Fuji X-T3 or a Panasonic GH5 or A7 III, this is right up there with that. The EOS R I didn't list because it's more expensive and it has less features. So the EOS R I think is a whole nother topic to get into. This really sits well in that kind of, if you want a full kit at around $4,000, this is what you want with a lens, of course. I think overall Nikon has really nailed it with their handling and the body of this thing. If you really need to pick this thing up and see how it fits in your hand. The grip is really comfortable. Everything is really intuitive the way it's laid out. The menu system is actually understandable. You have a joystick here. It just things that you need to have, and I really like that. You don't get that on a lot of these other cameras that we listed here. I think if you're really ready to step up your game when it comes to videography, this is a great place to start. But if you want to go to the stratosphere and shoot a movie or a music video, documentary even, you can do that. And it's really amazing with the Atomos system, the Ninja 5.
That's right. And actually, there was a big announcement here at CES about a Filmmaker's kit. So this body comes in at $2,000, but for $4,000, they stacked on the lens, 2 batteries, a Moza Air gimbal, the Rode mic, everything you need to really, out of the box, start creating world-class content. We actually did a full video about that with a little bit of a deeper dive on the overall mirrorless conversation. So if you want to check that out, we'll link it up on the YouTube card and put a link to it in the description below. Question of the day. What What camera are you currently using, and are you thinking about upgrading this year? And what do you think about the Nikon? Are you thinking about a certain mirrorless brand, a DSLR? Let us know in the comment section below.